Well, hey, everybody, this is Robert, and welcome to Outbreak News TV. And today I want to take a look at an infectious disease news story that has not gotten nearly enough attention. And so this is the place where it will get some attention, and that is the dengue fever outbreak in the country of Timor-Leste in Southeast Asia. Timor-Leste, where is that? Well, let's take a look. All right, so here we have Southeast Asia, and down here is Timor-Leste, and it's right on the tip of the far eastern tip of Indonesia. Uh, South of Timor-Leste is Australia. Uh, North, you'll see more of Indonesia. Papua New Guinea's right there, Malaysia, and up here is the Philippines. So that's the general geography of the country. Let me go ahead and share with you a more close-up map of Timor-Leste so you can get a look at that. And here we go. All right, so like I said, it's right on the, and that's exactly what Leste means. It's Portuguese. It is a Portuguese-speaking country. East Timor. Leste is east in Portuguese. So, and here it is on the farthest eastern tip of Indonesia. Here is the capital city of Dili, Dili. So that's what we're dealing with. That's the country. Maybe a lot of Americans are not familiar with this country, but what I want you to know today, if nothing else, is they have been battling since December pretty significant dengue fever outbreak, which is going on to this day. So let's go ahead and see what the Timor-Leste Ministry of Health has to say. And they put up very specific information on their Facebook page, so it's really easy to find. And here we go. And let me go ahead and get out of the way. Oh, it doesn't make much of a difference. And it's in their language, but let's go ahead and take a look at what they have to say. So as of 28 April of this year, today, they've had 4,523 cumulative dengue fever cases, including 51 fatalities so far this year. Why is that significant? I'm going to tell you in a minute, but this is what we've seen. We saw here in December of 2021, the numbers started popping up, 225 cases. January took off over almost 1,400. You see February, you see March. Now, April's almost over, so 664 cases may indicate that things are starting to slow down. So that is some good news. Let me go ahead and find, all right, here's some information. The cases in the capital city of Dili, and that's over 3,000 cases. So what we're talking about 2/3, 66% of the cases coming out of the capital city of Dili. And I'm trying to find, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, so this absolutely compares the dengue fever situation in the country the previous 2 years as opposed to this year to date. And you can see in 2020, all of 2020, the country had 1,451 cases and 10 fatalities. All of last year, 901 cases and 11 fatalities. And just in the first almost 4 months of 2022, over 4,500 cases and 51 fatalities. So yeah, so it's a huge difference. It's a big situation there. So we're basically, what are we seeing? We're seeing 5 times the cases, 5 times the fatalities compared to recent years in Timor-Leste. And let me see if there's any more valuable information here. I wanted to find something with here we go. The population which is affected by dengue in this current 2022 outbreak. And as you can see, um, it's mostly in young children. So, right, we got ages 1 to 4, that's about 35%. Ages 5 to 14, 42%. And then, of course, ages 15 to 24, about 11.5%. So just between ages 1 and 14, that's accounting for 35, 77% of the dengue fever cases in Timor-Leste. So yeah, so that's a big issue, and of course the children are very vulnerable to this virus. Okay, let's take a look at a little bit of information that the World Health Organization had to talk about concerning Timor-Leste a couple of months ago. So this is about most of the attention that this outbreak has received this year, besides, of course, my website, outbreaknewstoday.com, which has kept a pretty close eye on what's going on over there. Let's make sure you guys can see it on the screen. Okay, so what the World Health Organization had to say is, this is February 4th. Timor-Leste has reported a surge of dengue since late 2021 at unusually high levels compared to previous years. We already talked about the numbers. The majority of the cases who presented to the hospital were diagnosed based on the clinical signs and symptoms. And of course, Dili, the capital city of Timor-Leste, reported the highest number of cases, right around 2/3. Dengue is endemic in Timor-Leste year-round, with peak transmission reported from December to April during the hottest months of the year. All right, so that would explain why we're seeing the numbers starting to go down right about this point. The ongoing monsoon season may increase mosquito density and the likelihood of further transmission of dengue in the next few months. In previous outbreaks between 2005 and 2012, they had 2 co-circulating serotypes, and we're going to talk a little bit more about dengue in a second. They had the dengue virus 1 and dengue virus 3 reported, but there's been no information on circulating serotypes available since 2012. So it's been 10 years since UN health officials have even known what serotypes are circulating in Timor-Leste. So let me go ahead. And that's basically it. We're seeing this is a country of a hair over 1 million people, I believe. So this is pretty significant. It's a pretty significant outbreak, and fortunately, it does look like it's getting a little bit under control as the seasons start to change in that part of the world. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at just a brief overview of dengue fever and just a few details and stuff you may know, stuff you may not know. Of course, it's a mosquito-borne virus disease. It's transmitted by the female mosquitoes, mainly of the species Aedes aegypti, and to a lesser extent, Aedes albopictus. And now these are the same mosquitoes that are vectors of several other viral diseases like chikungunya, yellow fever, and Zika. It's widespread in the tropics, and it causes a wide spectrum of disease. This can range from subclinical disease, where you may not even know you're infected, to severe flu-like symptoms. Some people will develop, especially if they've been infected with multiple strains, severe dengue, which can be associated with severe bleeding, organ failure, plasma leakage, and fatalities. Severe dengue was first recognized in the 1950s during epidemics in the Philippines and Thailand. It's a flavivirus, and there's 4 distinct but closely related serotypes, dengue 1, 2, 3, and 4. Recovery from infection is believed to provide lifelong immunity against that serotype. However, cross immunity to other serotypes after recovery is only partial and temporary. So subsequent infections or secondary infection by other serotypes really increases your risk for developing severe dengue. The global burden has really grown dramatically in recent decades. While the vast majority of cases are asymptomatic or mild, there are a lot of serious dengue cases and deaths. Some modeling estimates say that there's about 390 million dengue cases annually. This includes all the dengue cases that go underreported. The number of dengue cases reported to the World Health Organization increased by 8-fold over the last 2 decades, from about 500,000 cases in the year 2000 to about 2.5 million cases in 2010. Now it's up to about 5 million in recent years. Before 1970, only 9 countries had experienced severe dengue epidemics. Now it's pretty much in a lot of countries right now. One of the more recent countries that experienced dengue local transmission for the first time was Afghanistan just a few years ago. The region of, a lot of these cases are in Asia, the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia. But, there's a lot of cases in the Americas, millions of cases. And a lot of these are in Brazil, right? We see year after year, we see 1-2 million cases of dengue coming out of Brazil on an annual basis. The transmission, as we said, is through the mosquito bite of a Aedes mosquito. And after feeding on a dengue-infected person, the virus replicates in the mosquito midgut before it disseminates to secondary tissues, including the salivary glands. The time it takes from ingesting the virus to actual transmission to a new host is termed the extrinsic incubation period. The EIP takes about 8 to 12 days when the ambient temperature is between 25 and 28 degrees C. Variations in the extrinsic incubation period are not only influenced by ambient temperature. A number of factors such as magnitude of daily temperature fluctuations, virus genotype, and initial viral concentration can all alter the time it takes for a mosquito to transmit the virus. And as far as pathology, let's see if we got any information about here we go. While the majority of dengue cases are asymptomatic or show mild symptoms, it can manifest as a severe flu-like illness that affects infants, young children, and adults, but seldom causes death. Symptoms usually last 2 to 7 days after an incubation period of 4 to 10 days after the bite. The World Health Organization classifies dengue into 2 major categories: dengue with or without warning signs and severe dengue. All right, so some of the symptoms you may see are, high fever, severe headache, pain behind the eyes, muscle and joint pains, nausea, vomiting, rash. With severe dengue, much more serious, severe abdominal pain, persistent vomiting, rapid breathing, bleeding gums or nose, fatigue, restlessness, liver enlargement, blood and vomit or stool. So anyway, let me go ahead and close this out now. So anyway, I just wanted you to be aware of what happened in Timor-Leste the early part of 2020. And the numbers are much more dramatic than we've seen in the previous 2 years. Looks like they're doing a little bit better in April, and we'll see how it goes throughout the cooler seasons in Timor-Leste. Well, that's the show, the news story, and I hope you enjoyed it. Check out the YouTube page, check out the website outbreaknewstoday.com. Subscribe, like the video, comment, and I'll see you next time on Outbreak News TV.